in a digital age, how should the BBC be funded, if at all? Joining us now is Joe Ventre from the Taxpayers Alliance. Joe, very good afternoon to you.
Hello there, Roberto. Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure. Welcome to the programme, Joe. What would you like to see with the licence fee? Well, I mean, subscriptions, keep it, scrap it, change it. What do you want?
So, of course, there are a lot of active discussions now about what the future of the BBC looks like. After all, as you say, we're approaching 2027, where the current charter is going to end, and that will be a bit of a cliff edge. And we're at a point now where, if there is going to be any substantial reforms, those reforms need to be laid out and planning needs to be put in place. What we would like at the Taxpayers Alliance is we'd like the current model, which of course relies on the TV licence, to come to an end. We essentially think that is fundamentally an antiquated system of funding a public service broadcaster. And what we would really like to see is the main elements of the BBC, the reliable sort of core services like BBC News, the World Service, some of the parliamentary services, those sorts of things, retained in a much more sort of streamlined fashion from central government grants. And then some of the more popular programming essentially sold off and, going into the commercial market properly. And I think that is the best solution ultimately for taxpayers and for the BBC itself to adapt to a modern world.
But how would that equate to a consumer, the average person at home, for example? What would they end up paying and how would they pay it?
So under that system, the fees that would go towards the BBC would come out of general taxation. So that would be a sort of a much more modest fee, frankly, for a streamlined BBC. And I think it would also address some of the issues that former chairman Richard Sharp has raised in terms of the current system being quite regressive.